Please bring the jury in. Okay, please be seated. Okay, we're ready to proceed, please.
Thank you, Mr. Dunlap, in addition to the machines that were seized during the various search warrant executions you've discussed, let me take you back to the April 2001 FBI searches. In addition to the machines, were other types of evidence seized during the execution of those search warrants?
Yes.
Now, let me make one other point there. Your demonstration of the Dodge City machine sitting in the courtroom today, is it correct? And perhaps a little too obvious. It's an electronic machine, correct?
Yes, it is.
And do you know how the internal operating system works? Are you familiar with that?
At a basic level, yes.
Okay. Is there any kind of computer software in there, to your knowledge?
There's a printed circuit board, which would be the brains of the device.
Are you familiar with the term motherboard?
Yes.
What does that term mean?
It's a printed circuit board that is the main board that would be in the machine, and without the board, the machine would not function.
I'm going to hand you an object that's previously identified as Government Exhibit 2S5-1. Can I approach you now?
Yes, you may.
Are you able to identify what that item is?
It's a printed circuit board.
Just clarify for the record whether it's a circuit board for a Cherry Master machine or a Dodge City machine.
I will ask that question.
Go ahead.
A witness has a chance to review the item.
I would say it's a Dodge City machine. The reason I say that is because imprinted on the printed circuit board is 1992 Merit Industries, which makes the Dodge City draw poker machine. And the length of it's a 65-pin wiring harness on the bottom here. This is what would be attached from the machine to make the board operational.
And is that the software, the internal software that makes the machine actually play draw poker?
Yes, this is the brains that would drive the machine.
Now, Mr. Dunlap, bear with me. There were a number of documents and documentary pieces of evidence seized in connection with these searches, correct?
Yes.
And you've had an opportunity before you testified today to review those documents?
Yes.
And to the extent necessary, conduct forensic examination of those materials?
Yes.
I'm going to hand you some of them, and we're going to walk through various pieces of evidence. Some of it is in your reports, but if you need to look at your reports, just let me know, okay? In fact, let me get you one report that will help you record, it's a notebook identified as government exhibit 2A6.
Okay, I know we have that.
Madam Mayor, is the witness?
Yes, you may.
Dunlap, are you able to identify that item?
Yes.
And what is that?
This would be documentation reflecting payouts that would be made on gambling devices.
And just, Your Honor, we will tie this up with another witness, but just for identification purposes, 2A6 is an item that was seized from Turvey's Variety Store on April 9th, 2001. Your Honor, at this time, the government moves into evidence Exhibit 2A6.
Any objection?
That is subject to an eyewitness to the seizure.
No, subject to connection.
Okay.
Okay, is admitted conditionally.
Okay, may we display this exhibit to the jury?
Yes, you may.
Is your screen
Yes.
working in front of you?
Yes, it is.
Is that the photograph of the notebook itself, correct?
Yes, it is.
Now, can we take a look at the first page of the notebook? Can you see that in front of you?
Yes, I do.
Okay. Is it correct? What was your result of the forensic examination of this item?
Well, on this particular item here, this would reflect the payouts that would be made, the payouts made, and also the money taken in by the machine, and on a daily basis. And from the various machines, you have MAC 1 on the top. That would be machine 1. Second page would be machine 2, and machine 3, machine 4.
Okay. Okay, let's just stay focused on the page that says machine 1 and go through that first, okay? You're referring to the entry at the upper left-hand side of the page where it says MAC dash period 1, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And what, underneath that column, what information appears there?
Underneath machine 1 would be the days of the week: Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday.
Okay, now moving to your right, the second column, what word is at the top of the second column?
Out.
Okay. And do you know what's your opinion as to what that column refers to?
That would indicate the money that had been paid out on this particular machine on the various days of the week.
And moving again to your right, the third column, what is your opinion as to what that information reflects?
That reflects the money that has been taken in by the machine for the various days of the week.
So is it correct the in column would be what you've identified as the consideration factor?
Yes.
That would be actual money placed into the machine.
Yes.
And then column 2 would be the reward factor?
Yes, the money that had been paid out.
And what is it correct that document appears to have weekly tallies? Is that correct?
Yes, it does.
What is the difference between the in figure and the out figure, if you know?
Well, the difference of the in figure typically would be more than the out figure, because you have to put the money in, and then again, typically you'd be paying out.
So what if you subtract the payouts from the in figure? What are you left with? You follow?
No.
If the in column represents the money that's actually consideration that's actually paid into the machine, correct?
Yes.
And if the out column represents the money that was actually paid out, what would the difference be between those two figures in terms of what's left over for the vendor and the stopover?
Right. That would be the money that would be left over. Say the net, the money then that amount of money, the difference between taking the out money that had been paid out and the money that had been placed into the machine, that would be, create a net figure, and then that amount of money would be divided between, at times, that would be divided between the vendor, whether it would be a 50-50 split, 70-30 split, 60-40 split.
That would depend on the arrangement they have.
Yes,
So that, the difference would essentially be the money that they made from the operation of the machine.
yes,
The first page that we're looking at, is it correct that the top half of that first page covers the period from Tuesday through Monday, correct?
yes,
That's 1 week?
yes.
And the in column, what's the number, what's the entry for the amount of cash that was put into the machine for that week?
1,755.
Is that the out figure or the in figure?
Well, I'm sorry, that's the out figure.
Yes.
The in figure would be 2,207.
Now, if we can quickly just go to page 2. Is that the same information except for machine 2?
Yes,
Go to page 3. Same information for machine 3.
yes, it is.
And page 4 is the same information for machine 4.
Yes,
And finally, look at the last page. Is there a date on the last page?
there's 431.
Have you've analyzed this, but let me ask you this question if you know. Do you know what the total amount of cash into these 4 machines was covered by this time period? Did you
No.
know?
No, I do not.
Next exhibit is marked 2A7. May I hand this to the witness?
Please.
And for the record, this is a notebook that was also seized on April 9th, 2001 at Terry's Variety.
Yes, yes,
Mr. Dunlap, have you seen that item before today?
yes, I have.
And have you had the opportunity to conduct a forensic exam of that item?
Yes,
Do you have your forensic report for that item in front of you?
yes, I do.
Okay. Now, based upon your forensic examination of this item, what conclusions did you reach?
That these reflect payouts that are made on gambling devices, and the notations that are made reflect the month, the day of the week, the amount of the cash payout, the corresponding number of points, and a number reflecting the machine that the payouts were made, and then you have initials that are written. And my determination is that indicated the employee that made the payout at the location.
At this time, the government moves Exhibit 2A7 into evidence.
Same understanding, Judge, as long as it's a
Okay, it's
witness.
admitted conditionally.
May we display that item to the jury?
You may.
Do you see that in front of you, Mr. Dunlap?
Yes, I do.
Is that the same item that you conducted your forensic examination upon?
Yes.
Okay, let's turn to the first page of the handwritten entries in that document, in that item. Next page, please. Okay, we can enlarge that a little bit. Can we enlarge that a little bit? Okay. Now, can you explain your opinion as to why you believe these documents reflect records of gambling payouts for a video poker machine, for a video machine? Just
Okay.
go column, line by line, or just go, I guess, from the left to the right.
Judge, I'll get to the form of the question, because I think I heard video poker machine, and I don't believe it is.
I corrected that.
Okay, let's restate the question.
It's a Cherry Master machine.
Correct. What is your opinion, again, as to what these documents reflect?
Payouts on gambling devices.
Now, can you,
Your Honor, I don't mean to interrupt, but could we just have a page number of this document for the record?
Your Honor, there are no internal page documents. There is an FBI control number assigned to it, and I'll read that off. Okay, for the record, the page we're looking at this point is, well, let me do it a different way. When you conducted your forensic examination, Mr. Dunlap, did you mark this page in any way?
Yes, it has a Bates stamp identifier number on it with and the top number on the right, the 2, that would be the Q. So, and the next pages would be 3, going back to the very beginning of the book, which would be page 51.
Okay. And there's a handwritten entry Q30. Can you identify that?
Yes, that's the Q. Q means question. When we get an item in the lab to be examined, it's given a Q, meaning that it's a question document until we conduct the examination. And that's just how it is identified.
So for the purposes of identification this time, we're looking at a page that you had marked for your forensic examination purposes as Q30, page 2. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. Now, can you explain to the jury, this page contains lots of numbers, correct?
Yes.
Can you explain how you're, based upon your forensic examination, you concluded that these are records of gambling payouts?
I concluded this because of the characteristics that the document does exist. You have the top left of the page, you have a 4-6.
What does that mean?
That's April the 6th. And then to the right of that, you have the number of 50. And then to the right of that, you have 1,000. And then to the right of that, you have 4. And then you have initials that appear to be like R.A. Now, the 50 is the amount of money that has been paid out on that particular date on machine number 4. The patron who accumulated 1,000 credits received a $50 payout. And at 5 cents a credit, that's what the payout would be.
Okay. Now, looking at the portion of page 2 that's been enlarged, are there multiple entries for the date 4/6?
Yes. On the multiple entries on April the 6th, it indicated machine 4, machine 1, machine 2, and machine 3 where payouts were made.
Now, we don't have to examine every page, but I think you said there's 51 pages of handwritten notes in this book.
51 pages, and this particular page is the last page in the booklet, and noting the entry of April the 9th, where there's a $20 payout for 400 credits on machine 4. And then there's no other entries made after that date. And I interpreted that as this book was seized on that particular date, pursuant to a search and seizure warrant. So only on April the 9th, there were only 4 payouts that were made. It wasn't completed like the other entries, where at the end of the day, a line is drawn, and then the new entries would commence at the next day. And the reason a line is not drawn is because this was seized.
Now, if we can go to not the last page of handwritten entries, but the very last page of the notebook. Do you see that displayed in front of you, Mr. Dunlap?
Yes.
And that's part of the Exhibit 2A7?
Yes.
Do you have an opinion as to what the information contained on that page? And for the record, this is identified as Q30, page 1. Is that correct?
Yes. And this would be a handwritten conversion chart. This is very common in the video gambling industry, and this provides individuals that are making the payouts on the accumulated credits on the gambling devices, again, a conversion chart, where if you receive 200 credits at 5 cents a credit, you would receive $10. And that's the first entry, 200 credits, you receive $10. And at the top left of the 10, you have a dollar sign. And then it continues in 100 intervals, amounts of 100, all the way up to 3,000. And if you accumulated 3,000 credits on a gambling device at a nickel credit, you would receive $150.
Would this conversion table that's found in this notebook, would it have any utility for use of a video machine that was used for entertainment purposes only?
No.
What is its purpose, this conversion table?
To provide employees a quick reference when a patron wants to cash out. And again, this book would typically be behind the bar, in a bar, where the machines would be located. And it's a quick reference, and it's right with the spiral notebook. So when an individual comes to cash out, the last entry on April the 9th was they accumulated 400 credits, and they wanted to get their $20. So they would go to the bar, to the employee who was authorized to make the payouts, and basically request, I would like to have my money. And then the employee behind the bar would then look at the machine to make sure that there were 200 credits on that device, and then give them the $20. And if they had to, they could look at the last page at the conversion chart and see what 400 credits, it would be $20, and then they would write the entry into the book.
Now, calling your attention to your forensic report dated February 29th, 2008, and for the record, it's marked Government Exhibit 5D5. When you analyzed this particular item, were you able to determine the time period covered by this notebook?
Yes.
What was the time period?
The time period was April the 9th of 2001. That was the date of the seizure. And going backwards, going back chronologically, then the first entry was April the 19th of 2000.
Of what year?
2000.
So it covers roughly about a year's period, correct?
Yes.
And were you able to determine the number of payout entries?
There were over 4,300 entries in the booklet, reflecting approximately $176,788 of money that had been paid out.
Mr. Dunlap, the next item I'm going to show you is an item that's previously marked as Government Exhibit 2 and 3.
2N?
2N is in Nancy.
Okay. Thank you. All right, I see it, thank you.
May I approach the witness?
Yes, you may.
Mr. Dunlap, are you able to identify that item?
Yes.
What is that item?
This is a small piece of paper, torn piece of paper, and with the numbers 83543 written on the piece of paper.
And for the record, and this will be tied up later with another witness, this item was seized, was taken out of one of the video poker machines that was seized from the First Ward Republican Club on June 1st, 2006. Before you testified here today, did you have the opportunity to conduct an analysis of that piece of paper?
Yes.
Did you reach any conclusion about what the information contained on that piece of paper?
This small piece of paper reflected the meter reading, the mechanical meter reading that was in the gambling device that was seized from that location. And this is a common practice when a collection is made of the money inside the machine. A meter reading often is written down on a piece of paper. It can be written down on a manila coin, a small manila coin envelope, on a notepad, or just a small torn piece of paper. And that is the current meter reading. And then when the next collection is done, and that's one way that you can gauge the meter read, you take the new meter reading from the old meter reading, and then you can get the amount of money that had been generated by the machine.
And is that something that would be useful in the operation of a video machine for gambling purposes?
Yes.
And why is that? Can you explain that?
Well, they want to keep track about how much money the machine is taking in, so they can compare it to, again, how much money has been paid out.
Now, calling your attention to your forensic report dated July 30th, 2007, which is marked as Government Exhibit 5D3. participated in the first word searches, correct?
Yes.
And did you actually find this piece of paper inside one of the machines?
I found this piece of paper when I was conducting the field examination later on.
Did you compare the meter reading on the piece of paper with the meter reading that was on the metering device inside the machine?
Yes.
And what results did you, what conclusion did you reach from that comparison?
Well, it was very close when the search warrant was conducted and looking at the meter readings, or when the field examination was conducted, the meter reading on the mechanical meter, on this, in fact, this particular machine, the meter reading was 86500. And since each credit is worth 25 cents, I was able to give a monetary value to that number. And then this torn piece of paper was found. And that was very close to the meter reading, so then I was able to give a monetary value to the number that was written on the small piece of paper, which was 83543.
Okay.
So then I made the determination that since there was really no money in the machine, it was collected, it was emptied every night, then between the meter reading that was written on the piece of paper and the current meter reading, then I came to the conclusion that approximately $739 was placed into the machine between when that number was written on a small piece of paper that was found inside the machine and the current meter reading.
Now, when you opened the machine up, did you find the $739.25?
No.
So the money had already been taken out of the machine by the time the machine was
Yes.
seized? Now, the next exhibits are identified for the record as Government Exhibits 2J8 and 2J9. So make sure the fence is seen. Your Honor, may I first witness?
Yes, you may.
Mr. Dunlap, I'm going to hand you some items that have previously been marked as Government Exhibit 2J8 and 2J9. Try to keep them separate if you can. For the record, these items were also found in a machine of Terry's variety during the searches of April 1st, April 9th, 2001. Before you testified here today, Mr. Dunlap, have you had the opportunity to examine these items?
Yes.
And first of all, can you describe what item 2J8 is?
$2J8 is a torn piece of paper from a partial page of a calendar, and on the back it has two sets of numbers. The left-hand number is 131907, and the right-hand number is 822290.
And item 2J8, can you identify what that item is?
Yes, this is a small torn piece of paper from a manila coin envelope, and you have two sets of numbers. On the one side, the one set of number is 128531.
Did you say 8 or 9 for that?
Could you repeat?
This is a 2J9.
No, you said 8.
8. The first one was 8.
Yes.
You're now describing the item marked as 2J9, correct?
Yes. 2J9 is a small portion of a manila coin envelope that was torn off, and you have two sets of numbers, and the first number is 128531, 803590, and on the other side of the flap you have 78855 and then 491823.
At this time, the government moves into evidence exhibits 2J8 and 2J9.
Same position. That's
Subject
absolutely
to,
fine. Subject to producing.
The next is conditionally admitted.
Thank you, Your May we display Government Exhibit 2J8 to the jury? Is that the front page of the calendar that you were describing?
Yes.
Let's look at the back page. Okay, what is that information?
Again, the numbers are 131907, and the right-hand number is 822290.
And what do you interpret those numbers to be?
These would be the meter readings from the credit in and the credit out meter readings and a gambling device.
Let's take a look at Government Exhibit 2J9. Okay, can you describe the information on that item?
Again, this is the top portion of a small manila coin envelope, and the left-hand number on the top is 78855. The right hand is 491823, and then the bottom left-hand number is 128531, and the right hand is 803590.
And what do you interpret those numbers to mean?
These would be meter readings from at least 2 gambling devices that would be at a location.
And would that information be used in connection with the use of the machines for gambling purposes?
Yes, to record the credits in and the credits out.
Now, you've identified that as the top of a coin envelope. Are you familiar with that coin envelope? Is that something you've encountered in your work experience?
Yes,
Those little brown coin envelopes?
many times. This goes back many, many years ago when, before the bill validators were affixed to the machines, all these machines operated by quarters. And in fact, you have a circle cut in on the deck to the right of the rectangle area where the currency goes in. And what would be a very common practice would a route man would come to a location to make the collection. And then he would take all the quarters out of the bucket, go back into a private area, count the quarters, and then repackage the quarters in small manila coin envelopes like this in $10 amounts. And then those coin envelopes would then be placed in a box, given back to the bar owner, and to be reused, to be recycled. And if a patron came in and wanted 2 bags of quarters, $20 worth, you give $20, and you get 2 bags of manila coin envelopes with 40 quarters in each, $10 each. And this, I've seen these manila coin envelopes used often for note keeping, for settling up, showing the money in, money out, the split, any loan payments. So these manila coin envelopes are very, very commonly used in the video gambling industry.
Now, the next exhibit we're going to use is marked as Government Exhibit 2S8. May I approach the witness, sir?
Yes.
Mr. Dunlap, I've given you an item marked as Government Exhibit 2S8, and it's in an evidence envelope, but I'll pull it out for you. Can you identify what that item is?
This is a small manila coin envelope with writing on the one side.
Okay, and for the record, this item was found in a machine that was taken out of the Blue Suede location. I believe the date is August 31st, 2009.
Yes.
Actually, is that item addressed in your report marked 2D8?
Yes. In fact, when I was conducting the field examination I was conducting the field examination on November the 2nd, and in the back, in the left rear of the deck by the printed circuit board in the gambling device at Dodge City, I found this manila coin envelope laying in the back there. And then it was retrieved, and then I gave it to Special Agent Augustine.
At this time, the government moves for the admission of Government Exhibit 2S8.
Same position, Judge.
Subject to the connection is conditionally admitted.
Now, displayed in front of you is the front copy of the little brown envelope that you described. Are you, first of all, do you have an opinion as to whether this item was used in connection with the use of video gambling devices for illegal. Strike that. Were you able to reach a conclusion whether this item relates to the use of a video gambling device for gambling purposes?
Yes,
What is your opinion?
because it's a notation that was written by an individual who had access to the machine, and for another individual who also had access, basically stating add 7,590 to your count. The next two words begins with an R and the ampersand and then the P. I don't know what those words are, but it's a went bad, replace board, thanks.
And at the upper left-hand corner, what's the entry, the handwritten entry?
The name Ant, A-N-T.
Now, may I retrieve some of these items? For the record, the next item, next three items will be marked as 2J11, 2J12, and 2J13. Grand jury exhibit 8. I may have first the witness.
Yes.
First item I'll give you is item marked 2J11. For identification purposes, items identified as 2J11, 12, and 13 were also retrieved from video devices that were seized on April 9th, 2001.
Yes.
Mr. Dunlap, are you able to identify what item 2J11 is?
This is a operational manual for a Cherry Master, which is a video gambling device.
And do you have an opinion as to whether that manual would be used in connection with gambling, using the machine for gambling purposes?
Yes, it explains, basically these 3 pages explain the settings for the dip switches that would be on a printed circuit board for a Cherry Master. Typically there's 5 dip switches, and each dip switch has a certain function. And on a dip switch, it's a small plastic computer chip where you have 8 switches on it and on-off position. And with those 5 dip switches, you can change the parameters of the game, whether you want a penny a point, a nickel a point, a dime, a quarter a point. If you want the icons to spin high or low, which are fast or slow. If you want to disable the music, and also if you want to increase the credit limit, whether you want the device to accept maximum of 5,000 credits, 10,000 credits, 20,000, 30 credits, or 30,000 credits. And also you can change the payout percentage.
And again, that's for a Cherry Master slot machine, correct?
Yes. And other things that you can change, the bet maximum, whether you want a maximum bet of 8, 16, 32, 64.
And is it your understanding that this manual was actually found inside one of the machines?
That's my understanding, yes.
Yeah. Do you have an opinion as to why this type of document was found inside a video machine?
As a reference, if by chance a service individual, a route man, needs to do some adjustments on the machine, he has that information here. He would know what dip switches to go to adjust.
believe you testified yesterday, the presence of dip switches is one of the secondary features you look for in terms of identification of a gambling device?
Yes, if it's there, it's identified. If it's not there,
Now, may I approach the witness?
You may.
Mr. Dunlap, this time, I'm going to hand you an item that's marked as Government 2J12. Why don't you give me that one back? Take a look at what 2J12 is. Before we go to that, government moves into evidence 2J11.
Well, Judge, we have the same position on 11, 12,
Okay,
and 13.
is-
So subject-
They're all admitted, subject to connection and conditionally so.
May we display 2J11?
Yes, you may.
Is that the operational manual you described?
yes.
Okay, let's go to page 2. What is that information?
Again, this would be the first page in the manual, the operational manual. And if you see the DIP switch number 1, again, as I mentioned earlier, DIP, DIP stands for dual inline package. And you see the top numbers 1 through 8. There's 8 settings. And the settings would be on off. So if you wanted to, and again, you can see here that this machine can be affixed with a hopper and a tray, just like a recognized casino, a slot machine in a casino. And then you can, on the bottom left, on the left-hand side, this machine also has a double-up feature. You can disable that if you choose to. And reference to further down on the bottom left, the bet maximum. You can adjust it if you only want the maximum bet to be 8, or you can increase it all the way up to 64. And that would equate to, if it's a quarter a point, 8 would be $2. 16 would be $4, or it could be a nickel a point, or a penny a point.
And that would relate to the multiple credit feature that you've talked about?
Yes.
And looking at that page, there's an entry for double pay rate, double up pay rate. Can you explain what that entry means, if you know?
Yes, basically, if you want it to enable the double up feature on the gambling device, if you wanted to pay out 80% or 90%, then you adjust the dip switches accordingly.
Just very quickly, take a look at page 3 of this. Is it similar dip switch information?
Yes, it is. And this would be, on the other page, on the first page, you had the second dip switch on the bottom of the page, which had the percentages. And this dip switch 3 deals with whether the value of each credit. If you want a credit to be worth a penny, a dime, a quarter, then you adjust the on-off switches on this dip switch.
Now, take a look at Government Exhibit 2J12, and can you identify what that item is?
These are 2 pages from a Dyna, Cherry Master. Dyna is a manufacturer of Cherry Master machines that are located in Japan. And again, this type of information is the same that was on the operational manual for the other Cherry Master manual, showing the dip switches and changing, again, the parameters of the game, whether it's the payout percentages, enabling the double up feature, etc.
May we display that? Exhibit? Got the same type of information that you described with respect to Government Exhibit 2J11.
Yes, it is.
And is this information that would be used in connection with the operation of a video device for gambling purposes?
Yes.
Now, you mentioned the Dyna Cherry Master machines are manufactured in Japan. Is that correct?
Yes.
How about the Cherry Master machines? Do you know where they're manufactured?
They could be manufactured there, but there's also manufacturers throughout the United States
For Cherry Master machines.
for Cherry Master machines, yes.
And was that true in the year 2001?
Yes.
Same with the Dyna Cherry, were they manufactured in Japan in 2001?
Yes.
Now, may I approach the witness?
Yes.
Hand you an item marked as 2J13. Can you identify what this item is?
This is an operational manual for a bill acceptor.
May we display the district coverage to do that? And what does that operation manual relate to?
Again, the features on a bill validator. A bill validator also has a dip switch, and you can adjust whether you want it to accept a 1, 5, 10, 1, 5, 10, 20, 50, or $100 bill, and that's what this booklet reflects.
Now, would the use of that booklet, do you recall where that was found?
No. It was.
Your Honor, for the record, and this will be tied up with a later witness, this item 2J13 was seized from the Ace Vending Warehouse on April 9th, 2001. Would this manual be useful in connection with the use of video machines for gambling purposes?
It could be, yes.
Do you know where the Astrosys company, Astrosys International Limited, was located in the year 2000?
No.
Okay. There's an entry for UK. Do you know what that means, UK?
United Kingdom?
Okay. There's also a toll number in US for 702, correct?
Yes.
I may approach this one.
Yes.
Now, the next item we're going to introduce is identified as Government Exhibit 2N4.
Still the same?
Yep.
Okay. Same position.
For the record, item 2 and 4 was seized from the First Ward Republican Club on June 1st, year 2006. Your Honor, we move for the admission of this item.
Same position, Judge.
Okay, admitted conditionally.
May I approach the witness, Your Honor?
Yes.
Mr. Dunlap, I've placed before you an item marked as Exhibit 2 and 4. Have you seen that item before?
Yes, I have.
And are you able to identify what that item is?
Yes.
And what is that item?
This is a pre-printed form, and it's multiple forms on this clipboard, and the pre-printed form will reflect payouts that would be made on gambling devices.
Let's see if we can focus in on the bottom half of that page. Okay, looking at that page, can you explain what that information means, if you're able to?
Yes, this blank information would be very similar to the other spiral notebook, where you would reflect the payout on the poker machines that were at the location, and the time, the name of the person receiving the payout, the points, the machine number, and the amount of money that would be paid. So again, if you accumulated 400 credits on a Dodge City poker machine, and you would get, at a quarter point, you would get $100. So, and if it was on machine number 3, then that would be filled in. So it would be 400 points, machine number 3, and $100, and then the name of the person and the time.
Okay. Now, actually, we're displaying one page of that exhibit, but the item that I handed to you, which is marked 2 and 4, can you actually describe what that item is? The video screen in the courtroom displayed one page, but what's actually involved? What describe the physical appearance of what 2 and 4 actually is?
Well, again, it's a pre-printed form, and at the top is you have the name and the date and the ship. I would interpret this to mean that the name would be the employee that would be working on that particular day on that particular shift, whether it would be the day shift or the evening shift. And this would also reflect money that would be in the cash register at the beginning of the day, and various payouts for vendors, say delivery man for beer or soda, that entry, but the PPP would be the poker payouts at the bottom.
Now, what I handed you, not looking at the electronic screen, the item I actually handed you, are you multiple pre-printed sheets on that?
Yes. Many.
They're attached to a clipboard, is that correct?
Yes.
I mean, and again, Dunlap, do you have an opinion as to whether these documents would be used in connection with the use of a video machine for gambling purposes?
Yes, that's what this document, the bottom portion of the document, would be used for.
Now, Mr. Dunlap, you previously testified that the machines that you examined were gambling devices, correct?
Yes.
That's your forensic, the result of your forensic examination. We've looked at a number of documents over the last 45 minutes or so, and it's your opinion that those documents were used, those documents relate to the use of video machines for gambling purposes, correct?
Yes.
Now, based upon all the evidence that you've reviewed here today, do you have an opinion as to whether the video devices that you examined and concluded were gambling devices, do you have an opinion of whether those devices were used for gambling purposes?
Yes.
And what is your opinion?
Well, my opinion is that they are used for gambling purposes and that they were manufactured primarily for a connection with gambling.
I have one final visit for you to look at. For the record, this is identified as Exhibit 2M6. 2M, as in Mike. Any objection to this?
No, there's not.
All right, let's start with
Same position.
For the record, 2M6 is a small piece of paper, pink in color with handwriting on it, for identification purposes, and which will be established by another witness. This item was seized from Anthony Stano on June 1st, 2006. We move this into we come and move this into exhibit.
Conditionally admitted.
Mr. Dunlap, I'll hand you a document previously marked as 2M6. You identify what that document is.
This is a small pink Post-it note, and written on it is information dealing with adjusting the switches on the dip switch, with the middle one meaning that that's the middle dip switch. Typically on Cherry Master machines, they have like 5 dip switches, and where you have on, off, this is adjusting the payout percentage, how much is paid out. So in the top left-hand entry, if you adjust the on, off, those switches in that position, 75%, 70, 65, 60%, 55. This is very similar to the information that was contained in the operational manuals for the Dyna Cherry Master and also for the Cherry Master.
Do you know what those percentages refer to?
Reference to the money that is paid out. So in essence, on the 55%, you would be, if you put in $100, you would receive $55 over the period of play, and the machine would be retaining 45%.
Based upon your forensic examination of this document, do you have an opinion as to whether this item relates to the use of video machines for gambling purposes?
Yes, that's what this document reflects, that the person that this information is used to adjust the payout percentages on a gambling device.
May.
At this time, I'm going to go into subject matter that's rather lengthy. Should we
Okay.
take our lunch?
Is 12:25, and let's resume at 25 minutes to 2 at 1:35. Please leave your materials here in the courtroom. Do not discuss a case among yourselves or with anyone, and we'll see you at 1:35.